Well, it's done and dusted. Ooh, this one was a good one for Star Wars Andor. Very good indeed. So, in this episode, the Great Escape has happened. Well, first of all, I think, on to details of the episode, I think it was rather interesting the fact that we now know what happened on level 2 of the Narkana 5 prison complex. The fact that one man got sent back, basically put back in the system and just transferred to another place instead of getting released, was a very good detail. And the fact they fried pretty much 2 entire shifts just to keep the word from spreading just shows it. It just shows the fact that on prisons like Narkana 5 and other facilities like it, the fact the Empire is not as in control as it would seem. Also at the same time, another interesting thing and point made was the fact that Deirdre Monroe and a couple of others are on the trail of what she thinks is what could be the cause of the rebellion. They have tracked down one of her missing pieces and now the ship with it, along with a dead pilot. However, they still don't know who sent it and what it was being used for. And it could be part of something else entirely. That was a very good detail to see. So this ISB is now on the cause. No one knows the fact the rebellion is going on, but they don't know the full extent. Another good detail of the entire episode, I think, was Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma is coming to the grim conclusion that she was being told before. She's trying to release more funds into a charitable fund. But that charitable fund, in reality, open quotation marks, charitable fund, close quotation marks, charitable fund, is in reality money for the rebellion. However, she's been facing trouble. She's consulted, I think, with like a family member or financial advisor, and it can't be done. And in the episode, she's come to the grim conclusion that the rebellion, armed revolt, is the only way forward. And the price will be heavy, and that has taken a heavy toll on her conscience. That was very good to see. I think it was the fact of her going like, what am I supposed to do with this information now? Another high point in the entire episode, I think, was just the fact that everyone's favourite rebel linker, I think I'm calling him, basically the man who runs the start of the rebellion, trying to get the various different rebel groups to work together behind the scenes, as realising for a fact that he's running out of options. And also, he needs more time to get the job done. As far as he knows, Cassian Andor's dead, and the mission was a success, but Andor's probably was killed not long afterwards. But now, he's wondering his options and debating the next path of course to action. The highest point of that in the entire episode, I think, was the fact of the prison itself. The prison riot and the prison run was all very nice to see. It was so good to see the fact of Andor and his buddies getting out. Well, I think just the whole build-up to the whole thing was probably the highest point of yet. They kept on talking about it. No one gets out. And level 2 and 4 just confirming the reason why they kept them so isolated was the fact in case of a riot. Best bit for me about the whole thing was the fact that Andor and his friends planned the escape. Andor set the plan in motion in the last episode, but now it's time to get it to work. And the fact that it just works, and the fact that everything in the plan seems to go well, but it doesn't quite work out and they lose people. It was a good thing to see in the fact that several hundred men are able to escape, and the fact that guards were almost completely powerless to do anything about it. In other words, the Imperial way of running some facilities doesn't really work. Minimal guards, and like with a button they can control them. That might have worked, but as soon as the power's gone, it just doesn't work. And the whole sequence, or scenes and everything else, of 700 people who are probably just going to go back through the system over and over and over again until they drop dead, is probably just the best bit. That and the fact that Andor was able to lead his fellow prisoners in an escape. That was something I never thought possible. And the fact that the one who's probably most likely doubted it at least didn't even know what to do, and with a little bit of encouraging, he decided, I'm going to die anyway, so I'm going to do it. And it is go all or die trying. And they pull it off. And it's almost cathartic to watch. I think one of the best things, was like the main guard staff, when they found the command center and seized control of it, and you got the final men in the guard center, like, clutching their shock sticks, going like, this is not going to look well. They're going to end up in Imperial prison just because of the fact they let this thing happen. That was so good to see. And just the way they went through. The whole sequence, I think, was well choreographed and well set out. And it's interesting to realise the fact that the Empire is just recycling prisoners over and over and over again until they drop down dead. Just so basically they're working them to death without working them to death. And the fact that this word's going to get out, and maybe a few of them might make it back to civilization and spread the word. This is exactly what I think the rebellion is building for. This is the beginning of the full-scale rebellion that eventually will become the Rebel Alliance. This is effectively the first nail in the coffin for the Empire. In other words, the Empire was doomed the minute it passed the Public Order and Censoring Directive. The minute that directive was passed and put into action and enacted was probably the moment the Empire's fate was sealed and the countdown would begin to a full-scale rebellion. And Palpatine probably knows this, and I think maybe it might have been part of his master plan to I don't know, let the rebellion start up so we could figure out who was going to rise up against him and then remove them. Or perhaps this is just the fact that the dark side is doomed to fail, and the fact the whole Empire is just doomed from the start. It just doesn't realise it. The other good detail, I think, in the whole episode, was Mon Mothma facing the grim conclusion. This is the Mon Mothma we see in the end of episode 6. The cost of everything's weighing down on her. The battles that she fought. She was a senator. She's a politician. She's not cut out to be a leader of an armed movement. But the fact that she's coming to the realisation and the grim conclusion that the only way to save the Republic that she worked so hard and dearly to protect and to restore it is literally armed conflict. That in itself was so poignant. And it's the fact that she comes to this grim reality and realises the only way forward is war. And I think also partly, she's missing dearest friend Padme. The woman who pretty much was almost like her inspiration in politics. The woman who never caved, who could do so much and became into politics so young and wouldn't compromise very little, and push so hard to prevent conflict and to preserve the democracy and the republic that she loved so much. This is the kind of fight that Padme should be leading, not her. She was more of a follower than a leader. And now she's facing it. Now she's realising this is it. Everything she's been told is right. And now it's coming back to bite her. I think the end of the episode was probably the best bit of all. I think with the man who pretty much helps Andor start the whole thing, going like, I can't swim! I can't swim! And he just sits there going like, damn! I can't swim! I think the fact that he was just like, the line he said he can't swim, I think was like, the capital offer, it was probably one of the best jokes. He couldn't enjoy his own freedom. He couldn't enjoy his own freedom just because of the fact he couldn't bloody swim. And he's just like, why? Oh, why? And I think he just sits there like, I'm probably going to be in prison life, I'm going to get killed for this, but who cares, mate? I think you can die knowing the fact of what you've gone and done. You've saved hundreds of men, and maybe, just maybe, Andor and a couple of others might just get out and warn the galaxy of what's been going on Arcana 5, and maybe, quite possibly, the galaxy will know what's going on, and the Empire's downfall and its steady decline is about to begin. And that was, I think, the best bit. The Empire is now doomed. Well, that was a good episode. Thanks for watching. I've been the Universal Challenge. I ask you please like, share, comment, and if you want to see more of this, subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Cheerio!